Last time on Mythbusters, The Search.
Voila.
Things went off with a bang.
Oh, watch out! Watch out!
As the 9 wannabe Mythbusters competed for the job of a lifetime. While they all showed serious skills at detonation decorating, boom, Ben's rising star was snuffed out.
It was just an unreal experience, the whole thing.
This week, it's sink or swim with a legendary maritime myth.
That's my bad.
As our 8 remaining contestants test the tall tale
Time is up. Tools down.
Nice work, guys.
that you can make a working boat
Paddle on your side, guys.
out of nothing but cardboard.
Oh, hold on, no. Tamara, stop, Tamara.
Then it's all guns blazing as we test a Hollywood firearms fable blindfolded.
I love this gun.
And sadly for someone, it's not just the gun that gets fired.
And the person going home is...
Boxes.
We're gonna build a fort.
Welcome to Mythbusters The Search. Like last week, you will again be putting 2 myths to the test. One is individuals, and one is teams. Speaking of teams, Alan, John, could you flip-flop real quick here? John, that side you use Team Red. Alan, this side you use Team Blue. Your team myth this week will be testing a material almost as legendary as duct tape. Cardboard. The myth is, can you build a cardboard boat?
Being a product designer, I'm used to using common materials in not so common ways, so I'm in my element. If I get eliminated this week, I'm gonna be super disappointed.
This isn't gonna be some flimsy raft or one-person canoe. No, each team has to build a boat that houses all 4 team members and can propel them to victory during a water race.
That's excellent.
Cardboard loses all form and function when it gets wet. Build a boat. This is gonna be good.
The only materials you will have are cardboard, glue, and varnish. And there's a twist.
What's in the box?
We have to be little?
Because we don't want each team coming up with the exact same design, one team will be building so the team members sit single file, and the other team will build side by side. Hackett, because you were MVP last week, you and your team can decide which design you want to go with.
The canoe. If it's a race, it's got a canoe.
Okay, canoe.
That was quick. All right, Hackett, blue team, single file, red team, that means you're side by side. In 4 days' time, we'll be testing the seaworthiness of your creations. So, let's get to work.
All right, let's do it.
Mythbusters has a proud and spectacular history of building boats from truly weird materials. Like duct tape.
Dude, I think we can stay out here all day.
Raincoats, and piecrete, which is basically newspaper and ice.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I like this material.
They called this myth plausible.
Love this boat. I'm king of the world. Whoa.
But piecrete is a lot stronger than cardboard.
So my super piecrete actually is in fact super piecrete. It's almost like break-proof.
Oh, that should be enough, right?
So can they really build a boat from something that self-destructs when saturated? In arguably the biggest ever Mythbusters boat challenge, the teams will go head-to-head in a grueling 500-yard race. Both teams are ready to launch some ideas in a brainstorm.
All right, who here's got boat experience?
And it's already advantage Team Blue. Expert fabricator Martin's a bona fide old salt.
I create with whatever I get my hands on, from 2x4 lumber to build this sea kayak. I've actually been building sea kayaks, skiffs, and other boats for almost 20 years, so coming up with a design is gonna be easy, but building out of cardboard, that's gonna be tough.
But the blue team will have some advantages. The slimline design should be faster. The build should be quicker. And compared to the side-by-side boat, there's less need to brace the beam and the bottom.
So it seems like we can break this into two broad tasks, right? Design, you two. Us two, I think we can work on actually sticking the stuff together.
We almost either need to make seats that are all end grain cardboard, or the boat itself, just like this.
Jeez, this thing's got to hold like 800 pounds.
Boat out of cardboard. Let's do it.
The challenge is even more daunting for Team Red. Their nautical know-how is shallow at best.
Even where we have joints, this is corrugated cardboard, so it's going to be really hard to seal all the ends of it.
I actually think that we should go with a smaller paddle, almost like a hand paddle, so that we use our arms as
So the paddles can't break, essentially?
Right.
Before long, the Reds have agreed on a basic design.
So our team has decided to keep it simple. No need to reinvent the boat. We're going with a flat-bottom dinghy design, but there are two very important things. One, when we laminate cardboard together, is it strong enough? And two, can we make it waterproof enough?
Let's go build a boat.
Small scale.
With two key questions to answer, it's time for some serious small-scale testing. That includes adding scale weights as a proxy for the four-man crew.
Hey guys, I just did the calculations for the weight that we need to go on our small scale boat, and it's only 3.73 pounds.
The tiny tub is carefully glued together before launching in the test tank. John, for one, has high hopes.
This myth at its core is so beautifully simple. Cardboard, boat, don't sink, win.
There's a mantra that should be enough to float anyone's boat. Except theirs.
Down she goes.
The boat sinks because it's made from just one ply of cardboard, which saturates in seconds. To move forward, they'll need to go bigger with way more layers.
I think we need to do a quarter scale build using the same techniques and design we'll actually use in the full scale.
Let's get started on the new boat.
I'm really excited about this myth for two main reasons. First, it's very Mythbusters-y. It's taking an incredibly useful material and using it in a way it was never intended to be. And second, our first myths were very machine-y and involved a lot of building and welding. This myth, on the other hand, involves more design and ingenuity and math and a bit of luck. That's something that we haven't really seen come out in the candidates yet, and I'm eager to see it.
Team Blue hasn't yet crunched their numbers, but they've agreed on a plan that's way more complex than Red Team's.
We're gonna have sort of a skinny canoe design, and stability is gonna be a big issue. So we'll need to make pontoons or outriggers of some kind to make sure that we don't tip over while we're rowing.
But the pontoons can wait for the big build. Right now, they want to see if the glue can not only hold the boat together, but also hold out the water. So it's off to the tank with one crude, glued canoe.
Here goes. First test.
Wow, look how fast it went. Oh, wait. Is this a race to the bottom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we're set.
Alan handles the salvage, and it's by no means all bad news.
It's coming apart at the corrugation. Where the glue was holding the cardboard together, these are actually staying solid.
That's beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted.
So this is a good thing. Let's just try using the glue as an overall sealant for the boat.
Worth a shot.
It's only the unglued raw cardboard that took on the water. And that gives them hope to move forward.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make another replica, seal it up really well with that glue, and see how it fares on the water.
Well, let's see how it goes. So far so good.
It floats.
It's already a bit longer than the first test, eh?
It doesn't seem to be taking on any water.
It's been in here for a better part of an hour now, and looking inside, it's beautiful. There's no water, so we can take it out, because that's as long as we're going to be paddling our real boat.
While Team Blue seems confident in their glue and cardboard combo, The Reds aren't acting much like a team at all. Expert engineer Jason's off on his own, building an interlaced honeycomb base to bolster the floor of the boat.
Well, ultimately, it's going to give it a lot more strength altogether, make our boat really strong.
Meantime, his shipmates have taken one massive liberty with the hull design.
So this next model takes after more traditional boat building. So if you look down here, we have the spine of the boat, we have these ribs in it, and soon we'll be laying in these veneers of cardboard. Look at that. Great, fantastic.
But now Jason's back on deck, only to find that the quarter scale build is unrecognizable. And he's not happy.
Like, instead of building like a freaking boat, like we're trying to make this a professional canoe, like make this front a freaking flat piece coming up and flat sides and everything that we can support with ribs inside. It's gonna be strong enough, but we don't need to do this crazy curvature because this is never gonna seal.
On Mythbusters The Search, the 8 remaining candidates are competing for a life-changing prize to become a Mythbuster. To succeed, they'll have to prove their worth by testing the myth that you can build and float a boat made from cardboard. And while Team Blue looks to be in clear water,
Floats. That's beautiful. That's exactly what we wanted.
Team Red is far from shipshape.
As of this morning, I thought we were all on the same page, and then as things were coming together, I realized that we were on very different pages.
They finished the brainstorm with plans for a flat-bottom dinghy. But this tapered Carvel-style job looks more like a rowboat. Jason's not happy.
I mean, it is really pretty. It looks like you guys are professional boat makers, but we've also taken an entire day to make a small-scale boat.
But according to New York product designer John, it was time well spent.
That second model is incredibly rigid. Like, it's a very strong scale model. And so if it does float and it doesn't collapse in on itself and we leave it in the water, that's a really good basis for how we're going to structure our boat.
After a good spray of varnish, its updated quarter-scale boat meets the test tub.
This one in the front, right here? Right here?
Right there, yep, right there.
Right there, right there?
Yep.
This is going to be important for our placement of ourselves, right?
Right? We don't know
It's
that.
getting ready to capsize.
Yeah, here it goes, here it goes.
There it is.
Blame the shifting weights for the sinking, not the design. However...
Well, oh, here's a good test. We're gonna pick it up and see if it holds water.
That is a good test.
So, that's my bad.
With structural integrity still a huge issue, it might be literally back to the drawing board.
So what have we learned from this test?
Flat bottom boat's a hell of a lot easier to build.
Yeah.
Let's build a flat bottom boat.
Damn
Right.
straight.
So it appears as though Red Team is done with their small-scale testing. And what have they learned? Well, their first design wasn't strong enough, and their second design was way too complicated. So going forward to full scale, they have not a whole lot, actually, and they need to get building. They're already far behind the Blue Team.
But what Team Blue is now banging together looks suspiciously, well, wooden.
Well, it looks like we're trying to cheat and make our boat out of wood. I promise, we're making it out of cardboard. This is just our form. We're actually gonna lay our cardboard pieces in here as we glue them together to ensure we have a nice straight hull and we get as much of a solid connection as we can with each piece.
A good Mythbuster isn't just a builder or just a welder. He or she is sort of a jack of all trades, and I think that's what we're starting to see with Martin. Specifically on this myth, he's worked with boats, he's built boats, he's intimately familiar with the sealant and the adhesive that they're using. I think that's gonna put them at a huge advantage.
While they can't use even a splinter of wood in the real boat, the Blues now have timber on the brain.
We've decided to basically recreate wood from cardboard. We've decided to laminate it out like boat builders do. Take 2 pieces of cardboard, in between, you lay another piece that ties those together, and then repeat.
This lamination process should produce something very like timber beams.
You work with cardboard for hours and hours. It's kind of toxic, it's smelly, it's messy, and you put all this labor into it, and at the end, you have a 2x4. It's deeply, deeply, deeply dissatisfying. I can see why they skipped over the cardboard stage of civilization and went straight to lumber.
Martin plans to use 3 of these as cross supports for the outriggers. But are they strong enough?
Hold on, no. Tamara, stop, Tamara, stop.
I never thought my gymnastic skills would come in handy here on the search, but I was able to prove that we've got the strength and the flex that we need to get out on that lake and win.
Have you ever wondered what makes cardboard so strong? I mean, when you think about it, cardboard is just made out of this. These are the same material, but this is way stronger than this stuff. If I try to take a load, like this banana, and I put it on this paper across 2 supports, it just falls right through. So what gives cardboard its strength? It's not the material that matters, it's how the material is shaped. So cardboard is corrugated. It's got these hills and valleys right in the middle. If I lay this material over these 2 supports and put the banana on top, it stays up. It's the shape that matters.
Red team is still stuck in dry dock, though it seems they finally agreed on a plan. Probably.
So going from what we did at 1/8 scale, then to 1/4 scale, both of those scale ones did teach us stuff, but I don't think what they taught us was worth the time we put into them. So our design now, it's basically every little dinghy you've ever seen, just very square with a little lip up in the front. That's all it's gonna be. Nice and simple, easier to build, faster.
Using their thickest grade cardboard, the dinghy starts to take shape. After a whole morning, though, it still looks like something your refrigerator came in.
Layer like down, over, down, and just start putting some extra geometry in this corner to...
So right now the priority is get sidewalls on the boat. That way you have a solid shell, and we need to get structure inside it, get our ribs and our beam in there.
There we go.
Right now, Red Team is really feeling the pressure that they launched right into building their full-scale boat without really anything written down about how they want this thing to actually look and function. And on Mythbusters, when you don't have a plan or someone taking charge of that plan, failure might be the only option.
Both teams continue construction al fresco. Now, the time seems ripe to bring in our guest judge.
Break out the life preservers.
Mike Kazik is a naval architecture expert and an instructor at California Maritime Academy. To say that he knows boats is an understatement. The molding is pretty impressive.
It is, and I think that's a good idea in terms of being able to structurally put this together.
After reviewing both builds, Mike's considered opinion is unexpected.
All right, Mike, you've had a walk around both teams' builds. What's your bet?
My bet, I have to go with the red team now.
Why's that?
Well, they've taken into account some longitudinal as well as side-to-side strength. And as long as they can keep the water out, they've kept it simple, and I think they're going to win. I think the blue team's going for too much flair.
Time will tell if blue team's fancy design is a shipwreck in waiting, as day 2 of boat building comes to an end. The following morning, it's time to jump ship to test this week's second myth.
Welcome to Richmond Rod and Gun, the site of your second myth this week. And welcome to our special guest judge and a dude with some serious gun skills, Travis Tomasi.
Regular viewers might recall Travis's pistol prowess from the old days. He's helped out with a couple of classic gun myths from the Mythbusters back catalog.
What was this time?
17 seconds.
17 seconds. That was incredible.
That included confirming the Hollywood trope of a lightning-fast magazine change.
So we've actually taken something that seems ludicrous in the movies and we've bettered it in real life. That's pretty cool.
But today you'll be testing a relatively new one based on the Hollywood trope where a good guy fires at a bad guy, not based on what he sees, but what he hears.
We've all seen this movie myth a dozen times over. The hero gets the drop on the bad guy, tells him to reach for the sky, then the lights go out. 3 or 4 shots ring out in the dark as our man blasts away at the sound of the bad guy escaping. But is that really possible? To find out, Travis first makes sure that they all get to grips with a .22 pistol.
Hit shoot.
I'd like to introduce you to the Model 1911. This one is in 22, so the recoil is very light, it's easy to shoot, but I'd like to familiarize you with the controls, particularly the safety. It has a thumb safety that you'll need to push down in order for the gun to fire. It also has a grip safety. You intuitively activate that when you take your firing hand, so that's pretty easy. Because it's single action, you don't have to worry about decocking it. So the safety is actually a mechanical safety that blocks the sears. Very simple to operate.
And while some are right in their comfort zone.
All right, looking good.
I think this Myth is really exciting because I already like shooting, and I'm really interested to see how good of a shot I can be with no eyes.
Others freely admit that they're no Annie Oakley.
This is just my second time even touching a gun.
Good shooting.
I love this gun.
I've actually only fired a gun about 4 or 5 times, including the practice round just now, but blindfolding is a completely different story. Thanks.
You could say that again. Just ahead. Live ammunition and blindfolds. What could possibly go wrong?
I can't tell if I hit anything.
With over 80 firearm myths already tucked in our ammo belt, sharp shooting always was a critical part of the Mythbusters skill set. Today, we're testing not only a movie gun myth, but the contestants themselves.
This myth comes straight from Hollywood. It's that a good guy can locate and fire at a bad guy relying on nothing but sound. With 8 wannabe Mythbusters, each firing 3 shots, so we'll have 24 data points to look at. But more importantly, we're gonna be looking at gun performance. A part of being a Mythbuster is having a proficiency with guns, so come elimination time, their performance here at the gun range may be a determining factor.
Of course, shooting blind means taking special precautions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your safety rig. You're gonna walk up to the rig and extend your arms through the port. As you can see, the rig, it limits your movement for safety reasons. This way you can't inadvertently shoot the crew.
Which is good, because it's clear that some nerves are on edge.
So the idea of having a handgun handed to me while blindfolded is not a real warm and fuzzy for me.
I don't have a whole lot of faith in my abilities today, because every day it's like, you know, we're throwing a new rattlesnake. Figure that one out.
But in fact, today's testing is simple and fairly straightforward.
All of our candidates will be in this holding area, and when it's their turn to test, they will put on a blindfold and be led out to the testing area. Here I have 6 switches, 3 for lights and 3 for sounds. The lights are on the top of each target so that you and I know which target the candidate should or should not be firing at. Then each target has a sound. This will be the trigger that lets them know where they should be firing. Each candidate has 3 attempts, and then we can see if there's anything to this myth.
Today, teamwork isn't a factor. It's every makeshift marksman for himself. And Alan's the first to fire.
Where's the piñata?
It's...
You're not gonna spin me around, are you?
No, not with a gun.
Okay, I'm handing you the pistol.
Okay. Being handed a loaded gun while blindfolded is, like, deeply disturbing.
Ready?
Ready.
Alan's composed, controlled, and clueless. Each time, Alan turns to face the sound. But all he hits is dirt.
Oh, geez, there's no way I hit anything.
John's hopes are bolstered by basic biology.
Well, the reason we don't have ears in the middle of our forehead is because our ability to hear in stereo allows us to pinpoint origins of sounds in our vicinity. So in theory, it should work.
Okay, I'm handing you the pistol, safety on.
Did I hit anything?
You didn't, my friend.
Nothing, right? Damn.
Maybe Texan Brian can bag a bullseye.
I'm pretty comfortable with the idea of shooting blind. I've been around guns a lot. I have a lot of practice with them. I once flew an airplane blindfolded because they needed to see how that went down, so this is just one more challenge.
we'll assume that whole airplane thing went better.
Oh, you missed him.
But Brian's got a hunch that their troubles are not horizontal.
You definitely felt side to side where it was, but as far as an up-down axis, you really didn't have that.
Brian's right. They're all definitely aiming towards the sound. But those dirt spurts show that their elevation is all out of whack. They're completely misjudging the distance.
No one has hit anything yet.
By her own admission, Tracy's less at home on the range than the others.
Are you ready?
Stop. Just stop for a sec, guys. Stop. See where your thumb is? That slide comes back. So, yeah, I want to keep it in here.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, guys. It's just going to bite her thumb really bad.
Once she's set, Tracy shoots like a pro.
All right, you are done.
But she doesn't finish like one.
Wait for Travis, please.
Tamara, Hackett, and Martin all spread the lead. Each one of them pinpoints the electronic beep.
Hit any of them?
It's not easy.
Yeah.
But the targets are untouched.
I think that went about as bad as it could have.
Dwindling hopes for a hit now rest solely with Jason. But after his first shot, the gun jams.
We got a jam?
Got a jam.
Travis rearms the pistol.
Coming back to you with the safety on. Okay.
Jason squeezes off another one.
Jam.
And then it's misfire number 2. That's either bad luck or bad handling. Jason finishes off. He's hit nothing. And that was their very last shot at confirming the myth. We'll leave it to John to sum up for them all.
I mean, maybe if I was some kind of professional hitman, but as someone like walking in, doing some training and trying it out, it is almost impossible.
I'm glad to see you all have all your fingers still. That's good. Now for the results of this myth. The myth was that a good guy could take aim and hit a bad guy relying on nothing but sound. And that myth is busted. Totally busted. Nobody hit anything. And because of that, we have to evaluate you on something other than accuracy, performance. But I'll leave that up to Travis.
The top 2 competitors, based upon form, grip, executing the fundamentals, listening to directions, were Martin and Brian.
Good job, guys.
And now for the bad news.
Well, no one was actually able to hit the target for this myth. A few people still underperformed, specifically Jason. His grip made the gun jam not once, but twice.
We got a jam?
Little jam. And Tracy, her movement of the gun inside of the rig was unsafe. Wait for Travis, please. Whew. If I had to guess who was on the bottom right now, it would be those two. And they really have to step it up considering that they're on the same team going into building their cardboard boat. Let's see if they can do it.
Whenever a Mythbusters crew hits the water, it's wise to put the Coast Guard on high alert. But no one ever sets sail in a craft that might momentarily melt into mush.
We're going to use steel wire to make a grid to hang the duct tape on.
Oh, this is a life, eh?
It's now day 3 of our 3-day cardboard boat build, and Team Red is struggling with what should have been a relatively simple flat-bottom dinghy.
It may look like I'm making a huge mess, but there's science to this madness. The entire time our team's been assembling this boat, the main objective has been to keep it watertight. And so we're taking this pulp that we have left over, and we're mixing with the contact cement to create this rather durable and strong, and hopefully watertight composite.
While Brian and John focus on staying afloat, Jason and Tracy have updated their means of propulsion.
I'm building giant paddle wheels that we can use to propel our boat forward and beat the other team.
So this is how it's gonna work. We have pedals on both sides of the boat, a central shaft, and 2 people that are just gonna pedal like crazy to get ahead of the other team. The great thing is that we have this laser cutter, and we can take this design and it can cut these shapes out in a timely fashion so we can get it done on time. This is really our secret weapon.
Secret even from teammates John and Brian.
One down, only 39 to go.
And just to add to the pressure, time's running out.
Teams, I hope your cardboard boats are going along well because you only have 4 hours remaining.
Blue team has popped their inline canoe-shaped boat from the formwork, and it's all hands on deck.
We're getting really close on time here, so we're putting all of our effort into the boat right now as a team so that we can ensure that we float when we get out there on the lake.
Remember the unsinkable Titanic where it slams into an iceberg and the iceberg just rips through it like a can opener? Water fills into one cell, it's able to spill over the bulkhead into the next cell until finally it sinks. You might be thinking, with this, might be the same problem. No. When we take these templates out, the actual bulkhead is gonna go all the way to the ceiling. So we've learned from the Titanic on this one.
To ensure a smooth hull, Hackett's wrapping the boat in a thin cardboard skin.
For the skinning of our boat, the best thing to use is original cardboard paper. I am just taking cardboard apart by delaminating it.
With the boat skinned, it's time to install the vital outriggers. They'll be fixed to the ends of those 4x4s.
Pontoons are kind of like training wheels. If we start to tip on our narrowboat, we'll recover, we'll be fine. However, if they're not sealed, they will fill with water and they'll be an anchor instead of a training wheel.
But fitting the rig means punching 4 holes in the boat. Here's hoping those beams are a very snug fit.
Oh, like a glove.
Look, it's a boat.
Cool.
But for Team Red,
Got a lot of layers on it. Now we just got to put some lacquer on the outside.
the wheels are beginning to wobble. If the paddle wheel's going to work, they'll need to cut holes in their hull.
Good. That's like 1.5 feet.
Now it's John's turn to go off the deep end.
Holes are bad for boats. You have no idea where the water's gonna be. You have no idea if the paddle's gonna work, but you wanna risk sinking our awesome ship.
John and I have been out here struggling building this boat. Jason and Tracy, they've been inside working on a paddle wheel where the engineering won't even work. It's not gonna move it even if they finish.
To sidestep a mutiny, Jason agrees to revert to Plan A, simple cardboard hand paddles. But he'll have to hurry.
All right, teams, time for finishing touches because you only have 30 minutes left. 30 minutes left on your builds.
Blue team's already made paddles and fitted the outriggers.
Nice work, guys.
It's a boat.
Time for Alan to show his artistic flair.
To make sure we stay afloat, we're gonna be paying homage to an ancient monster that lives at the bottom of the lake. We call this monster Cthulhu.
And assuming that rowing works best with a backbeat, Tamara's made her own drum.
Row, row.
And if there's anything still left unfinished, that's just too bad.
All right, everyone, that's it. Time is up. Tools down.
We did it.
Oh,
all right.
Yes. It's time to test.
Jason and Tracy have finished the paddle wheel and the hand paddles, but they didn't have time to properly waterproof all of them. As for the boat,
We would have loved to put on our additional walls, but we don't have time for that. So it's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's definitely a boat.
well, at least Brian's convinced. Right now, it looks like a race between a groundhog and a greyhound.
This boat is awesome. It looks like a boat. It looks like it could fight in a Viking war.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad. I mean, it's kind of, I wouldn't want to run 20 yards with just you and me, but.
That's a lot lighter than I expected.
Me and Hackett can help. We'll get the size.
No, we put Tamara in the boat, it'll be like twice as heavy.
Hey, actually.
No, see?
Yeah, 'cause
that's a
it's like-
compliment. Ah, you thought I was making fun of you, and that was a compliment.
It's a light boat. I don't think it's that light, though.
I think this boat will kick ass, and all credit goes to Martin. On all of this, he was telling us, do this, do that, and we're like, okay, Captain Martin.
Next up, it's off to the lake to bust or confirm,
Red team's in first.
Paddle on your side, guys.
and to see which of our rowing eights walks the plank.
Someone was a bit lacking in 2 key Mythbusters traits.
It's the day of the cardboard regatta, where we'll finally see if this myth can hold water. Our two teams hope to spend quality time on the lake, not in it.
Now that we're actually here, it's hitting me that we have made a boat out of cardboard, and I'm starting to feel nervous.
To make matters worse, they know one of them's going to end up as fish food.
We're all a little bit worried about elimination. Anyone's head could be on the chopping block.
Welcome to test day. It is on this lake behind me where we'll see if this myth and your cardboard boats hold water.
The theme of our boat is a combination of Vikings and Cthulhu, as represented on our figurehead. I wanted to replicate that with my helmet, so it's like kind of half Viking, half Elder God.
Both teams have their boats about 20 meters from the water line. On my mark, each team will grab their boat, haul it down to the water, and then paddle like mad around the buoys. But before we do that, Mike and I are gonna check out your boats one last time to see if there's any lurking cardboard catastrophes. So Mike, red team's finished product. What do you think?
Well, looking over the boat, it looks like we might have some sealant issues on the outside, and I think their oars are a little flimsy.
Now, blue team, finished product.
I think it's too complicated for this race course. I think they're gonna have a problem rowing, and I think the pontoons are too close.
I have to say, I do like the style points here for blue team. This Cthulhu, as they call it, and even this drum.
The Cthulhu, class act. The drum, I would get rid of.
What do you think about the paddle wheel for red team, then?
The paddle wheel, I would ditch before I even got in the water.
Ah, yes, the paddle wheel.
Are y'all gonna help with the sides, or are we just gonna?
Yeah. Just drop it in, man.
The paddle wheel, the propulsion system we have on there, it's a piece of crap, and we should have spent the time making our actual oars.
Given there's no axle holes, it's been wedged on top of the boat as a possible means of backup propulsion. According to Jason, if they sink low enough for the wheels to hit H2O, it should work.
All right, once we're in the water, this is gonna help us.
Once it's in the water, the wheels will not touch the water.
Until we start sinking.
And then when we start sinking, we can start turning the wheel.
The paddle wheel cracks me up the most because it's so high out of the water that right now it's just like a little doily that's gonna be spinning if somebody wants to turn it. But I think that when they start sinking, it might come in handy to get them going forward once they're halfway underwater.
Seems like an insane compromise that only adds weight to their already hefty hull.
That thing weighs around 900 pounds. It's so heavy.
And getting the boat from the land to the lake will be tough.
I have a secret plan. We're all gonna take that tarp, drag it as close to the water as we can, and then lift it into the water. It's pretty dodgy, but hopefully we'll get away with it.
Drag the tarp to the water, get there, on 3, we lift up, you guys in the back, me and Brian on the sides.
All right, not saying anything about your guys' weight, but you guys should be on the same side of the boat since you're the heaviest and you're the lightest.
We're gonna be stabilizing from where? The front of the pontoon or the rear of the pontoon?
Rear of the pontoons.
Okay, and you two are gonna be back there as well?
Back there, and then as soon as the whole boat's over the water, you guys can get ready to hop in. You first, you second, you're third, and then hopefully if the drop-off is what we think it is, I'll just push off and step in casually.
So ours doesn't really have a specific theme, but as we developed it, we noticed it looks like a landing craft. So we just went and embraced that military theme, and that's what we're going with.
Red team, hoorah! Let's do it!
I'm really concerned about this dry land start because if we drop that boat here in the gravel, we got holes instantly.
Assuming they do make it to the lake, here's what they're facing.
Right now, our course is set up as a giant triangle. The teams are gonna go around it in a clockwise fashion. Each buoy is enough apart to make the entire racetrack around 500 yards. Time to get the show on the water.
The feeling is the blue boat will be faster, and the red should be more stable.
It'll be a question of who can go the fastest and who can turn. They're gonna go faster, we're gonna turn better.
But the bottom line is that they both repel water.
I'm gonna give us a 50-50 shot at making it around without sinking.
All right, teams, this is it, the great cardboard boat myth. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Tracy's tarpaulin tactic works like a dream.
Team Blue, Cthulhu! And they're off.
Team Red hits the water way clear of the Blues.
All right,
Tracy,
John,
go! Get in the boat! Now, now, now!
They'd all better hope that their boats can hold water, Because if not,
Whoa, you good? You good?
it's more than the myth that gets sunk.
Paddle! Paddle! Team Blue,
And they're off.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Back on the lake, our 2 cardboard boats have just hit the water.
John, get in the boat! Now, now, now!
Red team's in first. They got in really fast, but at the expense of a lot of water in their boat.
Paddle on your side, guys!
Here goes, I'm pushing off.
Despite the fast start, Team Red struggles to get butts aboard, allowing the Blues to catch up.
Okay, steer us, Hackett.
So far, it looks great for confirming the myth. 2 boats made completely from cardboard and glue are floating like ping-pong balls in a pond. In fact, Team Red sits too high in the water to use the paddle wheel.
Move those lanky arms!
And they're soon left in the blue boat's wake.
Hackett, call out the buoy. I can't see.
We're heading towards the buoy.
Right.
They're doing so well that they're catching up with us. That's not supposed to happen.
Go! Go!
It's so far so good for the Blues. But for the Reds, well, remember they ran out of time to seal all their paddles? It's come back to bite them.
Red team has abandoned a paddle. They've abandoned a paddle because it took on water.
Suck it up, you weaklings! Let's go!
Let's go, guys, let's go.
Team Blue forges further ahead, thanks to expert design and extraordinary teamwork.
I can't see anything. What's going on back there, Tamara?
Can't stay straight.
Oh, those poor guys. Should we rescue them on our way back?
Maybe.
An obvious benefit to Blue Team's design when they're going single file is that they kind of work better as a team that way.
Here we go.
Holy cow, we're not only floating, but it's actually tracking the way we just designed it.
Red team, on the other hand, are just screaming at each other.
Paddle harder with your tiny ass arms! There's still hope! Either we die, or we make it back to shore! Row! 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 This paddle sucks!
Oh my God! Look at them. You guys doing okay back there? Oh my God, we're almost there!
Blue team is nearing the finish line, and red team are backwards. They're having a very, very hard time steering their boat. But they're still floating. They're still going at it. Gotta admire that.
Now go forwards, guys.
The boat's one big advantage was that it could turn on a dime. And it does, over and over again.
Oh, I see why this is happening.
Tipping, Tracy, go back on the right. Our boat was so blunt-faced that it just wanted to spin on axis rather than actually go forward. It was a failure from the start, but the boat did float.
What is happening?
You guys are not paddling as hard as Brian and I are. That's what's happening.
Here we go.
No one row except for me.
Team Red is afloat, but adrift. Meanwhile, the Blues are about to make landfall.
They just all have to have their feet on that gravel. They did it! Blue team did it!
They finished the race in 8 minutes flat. 6 whole minutes later, the red boat hit shore.
Let's park it real nice!
Slowed by their boxy design and those pathetic paddles.
All right. We were like, let's use the paddle wheel. And then we all got to the back of the boat. We're like, nothing's happening. Let's go back up. And we like all went back. Well, we tried.
John and his team have mixed emotions. It's kind of a boat half full thing.
The good news is, cardboard boat totally floats. Myth confirmed. The bad news, I think our methods of propulsion could use a bit more work.
The problem came down to these paddles. The second they went in the water, they just bent over. Completely useless.
Hey, Trace, are we supposed to be going forward?
For Team Blue, it really was all smooth sailing.
We did what needed to be done. We worked as 4 people becoming a motor.
We didn't take on any water, all our paddles held up, and if anything, it went way faster than I thought it was going to go.
Although Tamara's team won the race, both boats stayed magnificently buoyant, which makes this week's elimination all the more difficult.
And now for the results. The myth was that you can build a semi-permanent cardboard boat, and that myth is Totally confirmed. Both boats were more or less steerable, didn't spring a leak, and had payloads 800 pounds. Congratulations, guys, for doing a great job, especially the blue team for coming in first. And now for the coveted Mythbusters MVP trophy. This week's MVP not only showed great leadership skills, but also had crucial design knowledge that propelled their team to a giant victory and had some pretty decent skills down on the gun range. This week's MVP is Martin.
Congratulations,
Thank
Martin.
you very much.
Good job.
Good
dude.
job.
Thank you.
Good job.
The thing about this whole challenge that really rang true this week is we're replacing Adam and Jamie, and those are huge shoes to fill.
Unfortunately, this also means that someone other than Martin is going home. Now, while everyone on the red team showed great build skills, we feel that someone was a bit lacking in two key Mythbusters traits: communication and time management. That there was some confusion, small-scale testing, and a lot of time spent on a design that I ultimately feel cost red team the win. Now, it's very difficult to single anyone out for this, but I conferred with Mike and the rest of the Mythbusters crew, and the person going home is Jason. Sorry, dude.
Pleasure, man.
It's all right.
Thanks, man.
Jason is the most versatile, best builder, and best personality. Probably one of the best people that I've ever met. And this sucks.
Look, it's tough to see Jason go, but ultimately this does come down to communication. That's crucial to being a Mythbuster. He was mostly off on his own, working, spending too much time on that paddle wheel design. And when the competition's that tough, it can mean you're going home.
My favorite part of the whole experience was getting to see what it was like to actually be a Mythbuster and test a myth from start to finish and see, is it even possible? And I have confidence that the people that make it to the end will make great Mythbusters.
It's been an epic voyage, which ended with Jason as man overboard. But the myth of the floatable cardboard boat was categorically confirmed. Next time on The Search.
This is gonna kill someone, guys.
The remaining Magnificent Seven face off.
3, 2, science.
Over an almost impossible idiom.
We have to find 3 needles this big and 1 bone needle.
And attempt a Hollywood handcuff escape.
Impossible!
To find out who has what it takes
Both teams are having huge problems with their rig.
to stay in the Mythbusters race.
The person leaving us this week is